You throw over $1,000 a month into local wishing wells.
Of course, you idiot, because I'm wishing for more money.
This is the Keeping Your Money Show with Jamie Westenberger and Bart Steindler.
All right, welcome back to the Keeping Your Money Show. Jamie Westenberger, joined as always by Bart Steindler. We're just tuning in. Maybe listening the whole time. We've been talking about budgeting, getting ready for retirement, how to know what you're actually going to need to draw an income, and also know what you're spending. People are more successful at goals when they know how their progress is with those goals. It's one of those, we both have smartwatches of some sort.
Yep.
It's along the same lines, right? Do you know if you got 10,000 steps yesterday if you're not wearing a smartwatch? No.
Nope.
When I first started wearing one and I looked at how many steps I got, I was appalled. I was like, okay, well, I'm going to probably need to do better than that. The watch is like, your goal is 10,000 and you did 600. Nice job, you big pile. So
of lard.
Yes. So, but same thing. I mean, it keeps you accountable, right?
That's right.
So,
That's
one
right.
thing that will not help your budget is thinking that you're going to win the lottery. But lucky for us, the state of Michigan is looking at...
well, this is actually one representative in the UP that's proposing this.
It doesn't matter. He still works for the state.
Yes.
This person should not be reelected. Let's just start that. But he would like there to be a withholding box available on your weekly payroll that you can check off on the little tax form that you send in to your employer that will allow for money to be withheld to play the lottery. Yes, the lottery.
Yes. And no, here again, have you saved enough for retirement? But the whole thing is, should the state really be encouraging people who, for the most part, have not saved enough for retirement to take a payroll deduction to buy lottery tickets? If you want to play the lottery, I buy a lottery ticket once in a while. I find it entertaining. I don't do it a lot. I don't really have the idea that I'm going to win. It's just kind of a fun thing to do once in a while.
Right.
But if you think it's a good idea to have money taken out of your paycheck every week to go buy lottery tickets, I think if you want to buy lottery tickets, you should have to, increase the number of steps you having every day to get out of your house and into your car and drive down to, wherever you buy your groceries or wherever you go for the closest convenience store and actually have to go up to the counter and buy it.
Not to mention, where is the compensation to the employer for the burden of having to take money out of their employee's paycheck to buy lottery? Like there, he just talks about the $100 million he thinks that's going to come from this, which, by the way, this is something that we see a lot of times. We're going to talk about another stupid bill that they're talking about, but this is something that we see a lot of times when politicians talk, and it makes me realize they don't understand how economy actually works.
Right.
Like economics class, they must have missed that year, because he talks about how the $100 million that will be withheld if only half of workers in the state check the box would go directly to the school aid fund. He also thinks it will really stimulate the economy. I do not understand how taking $100 million out of workers' paychecks and putting it into a fairy tale game they may or may not win is going to stimulate the economy. It's going to go to the school aid fund, which, okay, that's fine. But that doesn't stimulate the economy. That does nothing to stimulate the economy. There is no spending going on there that's benefiting anyone else other than the lottery and the school aid fund. So by definition, his entire premise is completely ridiculous.
Whereas if they take that money and they go out to eat, or they take that money and they hire someone to do a home repair, or if they take that money and add it to their savings, they're increasing their security. But those other things add to the economy.
And I mean, let's be honest. The average American doesn't have enough money saved for retirement. They're not saving enough for retirement presently, in the present moment.
Mm-hmm.
we cap how much somebody can put in a 401k. We cap how much somebody can put in a Roth. We cap how much somebody can put in an HSA or IRA. And this guy's thinking our most pressing issue right now is making it easier for people to buy lottery tickets.
Yeah.
I mean, quality government right there.
Where does it say in the state constitution that it's the state's job to promote gambling too?
Yeah, I have no idea. But not to be outdone by another bill that is working its way through our Michigan government. And again, it reminds me of, you ever watch Shark Tank, Bart, where they're, the people. Mark Cuban has this thing that he'll say when he doesn't agree with, and he always says, "It's a beautiful product. I'm just afraid that it's a solution for a problem no one knew they had." I don't have a problem of not being able to get lottery tickets when I want them. Therefore, I don't need this solution. Another bill pending has a similar kind of concept to it in that I guess we need more people buying houses in the market that already has the shortages of houses.
Well, this is a bill that is Senate Bill 511 and 512, and my understanding that it has passed the Senate and it is waiting for the governor's signature, and if he doesn't sign it, they're going to reintroduce it. It creates a Michigan first-time home buyer savings program, and
which is not really an accurate name for it, because you do not have to be a first-time home buyer.
No, you just have to be in the state of Michigan and not have purchased a house in the last 3 years.
In the last 3 years. And so you could be 60 years old, have owned 30 houses in your lifetime, and as long as you haven't owned one in the last 3 years, you're good.
You're good. And not only that, but it's the beneficiary of the account that doesn't have to. So what it does is it allows you to put money away into another segmented savings account, and then that amount that you put away, which could be $5,000 for a single person or $10,000 on a joint return, will be deductible from your state income tax. And then the beneficiary of that account is the one who can't have owned a house in the last 3 years. Now, you can actually, after I read through this bill, it seems like a design for abuse, because you can actually own more than one of these accounts. So, and
for multiple different beneficiaries.
For multiple different beneficiaries. And I'm thinking, because it doesn't define the beneficiary as having to be like your children or somebody related to you. The beneficiary, if I read this correctly, could be anybody.
And we were kind of, sort of joking around that if somebody was trying to shuffle a bunch of income away from having to pay taxes on it, they could just go into an assisted living facility and make the beneficiary every elderly person there, because when that person passed away, they get the money back without having to pay the taxes. And obviously no one living in an assisted living is going to be buying a house. So it seems like a pretty significant loophole in a law that really, I just don't even understand the concept of some of these laws sometimes. I mean, if you need $3,000 to be not taxed to buy yourself a home, you probably shouldn't be buying a home realistically.
Well, here another thing. In the past, government programs that have encouraged home buying have actually led to artificial booms, which then leads to a housing meltdown.
Look at all the
which
zero
screws
down
up the economy.
Look at all the 0 down and 3% down loans we were doing back in 2008 and what that did.
Yeah, we don't really need the government to support one industry over another. We don't. If people are needing to buy a home, they need to be able to get the down payment. It doesn't mean if they can't do that, they're going to be homeless. They can rent. And maybe that sounds kind of cold and all that type of stuff, but you already you already have quite a good, vibrant market in real estate right now.
Well, that's the thing. Why even introduce this right now? I mean, the real estate market is booming. I mean, it's December, so it's not booming right now, but I mean, this summer, good Lord, I sold my house in 3 days.
Right. So, the more government tinkers with individual industries, it creates a false economy to encourage buying where maybe it wouldn't be otherwise. So if you're taking more people and putting them in the market to buy homes, you're taking them away from rental properties. Well, why should the government be deciding one of those is better than the other?
Well, and I guess, we kind of tie this into what our overall theme with budgeting and everything was earlier today. You know, if you can't save the money for a down payment on a house, and that's not saying anything bad about you. Maybe you just aren't making enough to be able to do it. Homeownership is probably the worst idea you could come up with, because when you rent, if the roof leaks, you call someone. If the toilet, cracks and water drips everywhere, you call someone. If the sink stops working, you call someone. When you own the home, you call the guy you're going to pay.
Right.
Or you figure out how to fix it yourself. And if you're struggling to come up with a 3% down payment, the reality is I have never owned a house. I've owned 3 homes in my life. I've never owned a home that has not had something go wrong, usually at the worst possible time, usually when plumbers and electricians charge double time to come look at it. No matter how new the house is, things go wrong. And if you don't have the money to pay for it, you become that statistic we were just talking about in the last segment, where you're borrowing out of your 401k. So now you have tapped into your potential retirement money for this pipe dream of owning a home that you probably shouldn't have had thrown at you in the first place.
Right. And, I've owned many homes in my life, and I've bought 2 new roofs. I've bought new furnaces.
Sure.
I've bought new water heaters.
And they're not cheap.
I've had remodeling done. Owning a home is a big expense, and if you can't save up the down payment, you probably can't afford the maintenance of a home.
Well, and I'd like to see a statistic that, we hear a lot of times that homeowners tend to be have a higher net worth than non-homeowners. But I would also like to see the flip side of that. And if someone doesn't have enough money for the down payment, what does it really do to their net worth 10, 15, 20 years down the road?
Yeah, and if you read through this bill at the end, it talks about the fiscal impact, and it said the bill would reduce revenue to both the state general fund and the state school aid fund by approximately $800,000 to $1.9 million per year.
But you know what? He talked to the guy from the UP and knows they're getting
make 100 it up with the lottery.
100 million-ish. That's what he asked. That's his quote. 100 million-ish from the lottery. So
yeah.
Hey. All right, coming up, we're going to talk about if you own company stock in your portfolio, do you have too much risk in your retirement accounts? Right here on the Keep Your Money Show.